So welcome again to our session for today. This is the 19th session for 2023 of the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines. Our organization, ABCD MAP, is a nonprofit member-supported organization. And if you are joining us 2 weeks later through our social media, welcome, and we're very glad to see you here. If you would like to engage with our speakers through our live sessions or gain access to our wide network of agribusiness and countryside development organizations, please do send us an email. Consider joining us as a member, introduce yourself, and we'd be very happy to hear from you. Our links are in the description. So in any case, we give our gratitude to our special partner institutions, senior special partner institutions, corporate members and individual members, all of whom have given so generously to the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation, without whom we would not be doing what we do today. So we thank each and every single one of you for keeping us here to help alleviate poverty and generate rural employment opportunities. Okay, so without further ado, may I please invite our president, Ernie Ordonez, to introduce our speaker for this.
Well, it is my great to introduce. He was recently awarded Most Outstanding Farmers, but he's quite actually. In the notice we gave you, we said that he founded the Bigay Buhay Multi-Purpose Cooperative, which of course is done with PWDs, right? But more importantly, he has a long background. I'll just give a bit, and then Richard, if possible, since we're talking in English, if possible, the first few minutes tell us how you got into agriculture and cooperatives, because we want to have a relationship with you. After this forum, we'll be calling you to see if we can continue your work through our networking, our contacts, and our idea of pursuing what our departed chair, Commander Sor, said. He said to us, the forum is good, but after forum, we want action because we want to have countryside development and poverty alleviation. And you know, Richard, you've been doing that, no? So tell us a bit about it, how you got into this, no? And we know from the background you gave, right, that you are really skilled in everything. One thing we like is that you've gotten into agriculture. You went from multi-purpose cooperative, doing everything from garments and furniture, etc., to agriculture. And you left for a while, became country representative of an international organization, and you had victims, Yolanda, etc., but you were into livelihood. So actually our organization under the chairmanship of Julius is oriented to what you're devoting your life to, no? So even though you're PWD, you're the second representative for PWDs twice, once earlier when you were young and now again. Our interest in you is really two things. Number one, the title is cooperatives, no? Most cooperatives fail in this country, no? So what do you do? And in fact, in Thailand, it's not Ministry of Agriculture. It's Ministry of Agriculture and cooperatives. That's the key. That's the key, no? Instead of the rich getting richer, that's the key. So interested in your skill and knowledge into making cooperatives work. And number two, how you use this concept in agriculture. You said that actually you won an award because you use the best technology. You know, I mean, you have drip irrigation, yours is even newer, no? So that's what we need in this country: cooperatives to have joint ownership, economy of scale, etc., and new technology. So kung pwede, ulitin ko, first few minutes, tell us how you got into this, no? Di ba? Because you're quite outstanding. How did you get into this, no? And second, so we have a personal relationship. And secondly, concentrate on how you make a cooperative work. And dami-dami cooperatives, you keep on failing. How you make it work. And the interest in agriculture, di ba? Agriculture. So yun lang, Richard. So we're really honored to have you. That's Richard Arceno. Just to let you know, we went from hits of about 800 a month participation to now more than 8,000 thanks to this new board. And so, Richard, you're being heard dati, Manila lang ngayon international, no? including Middle East, America, Japan, Southeast Asia. So we are really looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, Richard, take it away. First few minutes about yourself, how you got into it, diba? And secondly, how this cooperative works and its involvement in agriculture. Yun lang. So thank you, Richard. We're honored to have you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Secretary Ordonez. It's my honor to be invited here in ABCDF, or the Agribusiness Development Countrywide Development Foundation. So actually my background is, very briefly, I was born with severe disability. I'm the 10th of the 13 children. I was graded in Japan, grade 7, meaning the most severe disabled, cannot move, cannot do everything without the help of other persons. But I did not focus to that part. I was inspired of my visit in Vietnam, in Thailand, in Japan, in other parts of the world. How agriculture can work here. That's my long time dream. So I was given the chance to be the country director of one of the international humanitarian affairs accredited by UN, way back Yolanda time. After the intensive screening, they decided to hire a non-Christian, because the international organization is a Muslim, and a person in a wheelchair. So how can I do that? I said. So I was assigned in Yolanda in 2013 to do the housing project for the affected by the Typhoon Yolanda. But I told them housing is not enough if you will not give them livelihood. And if you will not organize them, then the housing will collapse. So that's my first order of the day, is how to sustain after the housing projects. So I introduced the agriculture, using the agriculture not as food security, but as a business, as an enterprise. And I requested them to form the association. So, of course, they did not say it, obviously, but they're telling in themselves that, how can I do that? I'm in a wheelchair. So I was fortunate to have a good study in different countries. And of course, my passion, because my mom and dad, my mom and my papa are farmers from Panay Island, especially in Iloilo and Capiz. So I was done it successfully in Leyte with some small community. So after that, the head office in London sent me to another mission in Cotabato. They requested me to assign in Cotabato to provide humanitarian response to the victim of Marawi seeds. So relief goods are not enough, I told them, because that is only temporary. But you have to give life to these people after the war. So what I did is I concentrated to the young people, because they are the most vulnerable in terms of influencing for some unwanted activities. So fortunately, the mayor of Maguindanao in Upi gave me the chance to lend a 5-hectare land together with the community. So I organized the youth in agriculture using the consolidated farming concept and organized them into a youth in agriculture network. So again, in a wheelchair, they're really amazed of how I can do it. I can do it. I told them, just like when I applied as a professor in the university, the president of the school asked me, how can you teach? You cannot write in the blackboard or in the green board. You cannot commute every day. I told the dean, let the students work for me. I will just guide them to do what they can do. So on the same thing in agriculture, what I did is that I just guided the young people, inspired them to do on the excellent way in the field of aquaculture, in the field of agriculture, and in the field of social entrepreneurship. So combining the three races, the tribes, sorry, pardon, the Muslim, the non-Christian, and the indigenous people. So it works out in Maguindanao. And it works out also in some parts of Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. But I'm doing that not for persons with disability, because my task is not exclusively for persons with disability. And then this pandemic happened in 2019, especially the most critical period is 2020, 2021. Most of my colleagues, persons with disability, who are less educated but very skilled, they are engaged in the furniture. They're doing school chairs for public schools. Our main client is DepEd in some private schools. But because of the impact of pandemic, there's no order of chairs. So around 70 persons with disability became helpless, no jobs, and suffering from hunger and extreme poverty. So what I did is that I have to use my connections way back when I was the sectoral representative and connect with previous engagement and trial. So Department of Agriculture responded. So we raised chicken, we raised fast-growing vegetables because we are in the urban community. And some private sectors like Latter-day Saints Charity responded to the idea of vertical farming using the modern technology in farming, the hydroponics, aeroponics, bioponics. But I told them, we have to modify the facility because a person in a wheelchair cannot do that. You need to make the work area accessible, and we need to make the hydroponic system more conducive, and even the cage for the chicken and rabbit, and even the container gardening and everything. So they agreed. So with that, we survived. We survived from poverty and especially hunger. Not poverty, but hunger and malnutrition. We survived and we fed children with disabilities by introducing the Feed the Vulnerable Children. Many private companies responded to donate seeds, fertilizer, but we promote organic fertilizer. So with that, we're able to feed around 500 families and 3,500 children with disability and vulnerable children. So through that, I realized that I can do agriculture without necessarily doing it directly, but inspiring people, guide them, help them introduce the technology, and be in the front line. So it makes me happy, and I realize that I'm no longer bound in my wheelchair, but I can do more. So I'm very thankful that I know now the ABCD app, and my idol, of course, the Alliance of Agriculture and the good Honorable Secretary Ordonez, and all the prime mover here of this ABCD, and of course the prestigious Management Association of the Philippines. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes. BBMC is myself, and BBMC reflects the true situation of people with disability in the country and maybe across the world. I will tell you why. We are already 31 years of service to people with disability in our country. Our mission is to be the leading inclusive social enterprise for persons with disability and without, to live together in harmony with community and nature. We believe in inclusive living and inclusive working. That's our vision. And we want to be catalyst for transformative change for the person with disability. Our history in BBMC or Bigay Buhay Multi-Purpose Cooperative started when we are students, way back 1991. We graduated, some of us with honors, with good courses, but at the end, uncertain of our employment future, because most of the company are not ready to accept us, despite of our good transcript or track record in school. The companies are not ready. The buildings or the working facilities are not accessible. So instead of complaining and putting regret in our life, we established this organization, the Bigay Buhay Multi-Purpose Cooperative, in September 1991. We'll be celebrating our 32 years this year as the longest established cooperative in the Philippines. This is the situation in the Philippines, in the world. Based on the World Bank and World Health Report of 2011, 15% or 1.2 or 1 billion of total global population has disability. However, in our Philippine National Statistics reported in 2010, we're only 1.23, or now they said 1.6 million. So this is understated because in Japan, they have around 7% of total population. In New Zealand, they have 20% total population disability. But personally, I said, that is not the question. Although there is a political implication for this, if we are only in this number, that means we are already marginalized in terms of figures. So the chances is we will not receive much attention from the government because the government, especially the politicians, are working in numbers. So in terms of budget, we have very, very low budget to education, to health, livelihood and employment and everything. So, but I told them, don't argue of 20 million disabled or 15 million persons with disability in the Philippines. If you cannot support the 1.6 million persons with disability, what is the sense of arguing about figures? So these are the key development areas that we believe in BBMC. Once we do this, then we will gradually liberate people with disabilities from poverty and exclusion by providing the livelihood and employment. So we are the pioneer of this allocation of 10% in the General Appropriation Act. The 10% of shares requirement of DepEd every year, no one can bid for this except the persons with disability cooperative. So I would like to thank those in the Senate and the Congress during that time, way back 1996, and the then Ricardo Gloria Secretary for supporting this, and the former President Fidel Ramos for this 10%. Yeah, and other legislators. Next, so through this livelihood employment of chairs, we're able to provide employment to more than 1,500 persons with disability nationwide. And this through this 10% DepEd, we're able to convince the sector to shift to cooperative. So from 5 cooperative in 2013, according to CDA, Cooperative Development Authority, we have already 50 persons with disability cooperative organized and registered across the 17 regions. So going back, next slide. Yeah, education is very critical, but do you know, only less than 5% of children with disabilities are in school. According to UNICEF, we have 5 million children. So would you imagine the situation? No? And then, of course, we have the health, the other programs. So our main challenges is that the high cost of living, of being a disabled. I experienced that. When I was a university professor, I spent 1,000 pesos a day for taxi. And the discrimination is there, visible and invisible. So we have the social, cultural, and economic barriers because their view for persons with disabilities that is even in my family, they thought don't study, don't work because no one will accept you, or maybe they will bullying you. So if in the family is already there, how would you expect the community and the society? But we fought for that. We remove gradually the barriers. So this is our framework. We believe that BBMC or the Bigay Buhay is a social enterprise. We do cooperative business development through community-based livelihood, localized, because mobility is a main challenge for persons with disability. And we need to build internal resources gradually, although this is still a big challenge, because much of our gain is used for social support system. Then, of course, we want to develop a community development, an inclusive community, wherein people with disability and non-disabled work together, live in harmony in the community. That's our framework of social enterprise. And this is some of our, as mentioned by Secretary Ordonez, this is some of our work. We do bag productions, assorted bags, and now we are doing also the printing, sewing of t-shirts and ads, advertising, and we have this furniture. Finally, after 5 years, we won in a competitive bidding, not in 10%. I will tell you later why not in 10%. We won in competitive bidding. Now we are supplying 12,000 chairs in Bataan, and we have to do it in 90 days. So this give employment to 70 persons with disability who have not been given the employment for 5 years due to pandemic, almost affected by the pandemic, and some competitions, no, from persons with disability suppliers. Community-based support system, I mentioned this already. You know, this is our life, this situation. You cannot separate these support services for persons with disability for a reason of fragility of health. And as mentioned, the cost of living is high, and we are more vulnerable to sickness. So we need this, and you cannot empower persons with disability without giving them the assistive devices of the mobility aids like prosthesis, the wheelchairs, the therapy. During the pandemic, because we have no work and school chair, so some of these folding beds came from construction workers in Makati. So the church donated, requested us to repair this folding bed. So this is our first time to do this. And then it was used for isolation facilities. So they didn't believe that persons with disability can do this. So I thought we will also do kabaong. Wala. Yes. Yes, yung during the pandemic, the plantito plantita ay naging uso. So we have to follow the flow of the market. So marami rin naman po na benta. And then some of these chairs for work from home or from online classes, and then this push cart for the isolation facilities, food cart. And yes, this is the new to us. Imagine this, these are the beggar in a wheelchair suffering from severe tuberculosis, but he was able to recover because of this hydroponics agriculture system. Now he was able to raise his child and send him to school again. And these young people, they are fulfilled. They won the Young Farmers Challenge last year, and the product of their agricultural activity, they fed these vulnerable children. And these are some. This worker feeding the chicken, he was a victim of construction. Unfortunately, his fingers cut. But we told them, go back and face the reality. Focus to what you can do. So he's raising Rhode Island. And we produce eggs for our community, for our cooperative. And we realize we cannot do it because we don't have money, we don't have enough resources, and our education is very limited. We mobilize around 50 universities in the Philippines during the pandemic. And maybe unknowingly, I used my being as an academic person, I was able to handle it with the support of my colleagues to engage the vast resources of the students in the different field of discipline, which gradually adopted by our cooperative. These are some of these are our key works that we would like to invite maybe your networks and partners to help us to improve further our work. As you can see here, we're very weak in the digital world. And now the situation is we have to be engaged in digital. If you have noticed, even our Facebook is very poor in terms of presentations, and our reach is limited, and we don't have enough present in the website or in the social media. We need to improve more our capacity as a social enterprise frontliners. We need to improve more our management system, especially the new venture, the urban agriculture and the upcycling enterprise. And we need to strengthen this initiative, not only in the urban, but even in the rural community, considering 80% of people with disabilities are living in rural areas. That means we have the untapped agricultural resources, human resources in the rural community. So our dream is to reach out to them, build their capacity, and engage with them. Of course, we need to continue strengthening our community healthcare and rehabilitation as an inevitable for our longevity. And we need to help us to enhance our management system, our market. We have very poor market because of the competitiveness, steep competition, sorry. Unfortunately, the 10% that we are relying on of chairs is no longer owned by us. There are some big suppliers already entered to this 10%. So our chances of getting it is slim. How can a person with disability join in a 300 million bidding? We don't have that capital. So the formula of DepEd is joint venture. So at the end, the one who are benefiting is no longer the persons with disability, but the big suppliers. So the purpose of the law is defeated. So this is one of our concern right now. That's the reason why we need to open another avenue in the agriculture and other enterprises. Of course, we are not abandoning our chairs because that's our project, and even the garments. But because of the steep competition, we have to think of another way. Our life is difficult in a sense that if we will not work, we don't have money and we don't have income. If we don't have income, we cannot feed our family. We cannot serve our community. So we need to really seriously engage in a more business enterprise. Because if our cooperative will only rely on the donations and dole out mentality and welfare, then I don't think we will survive in the next couple of years. Thank you so much for your support and attention by giving this chance to present to you our platform. So these are behind our movers. Most of them are undergraduate of high school or college. It so happened that me and my brother, who is behind me for the past 32 years, his knowledge in corporate world helped me, and is very supportive to me. He treated me not as a person with disability, but he disciplined me to do business. Forget your disability, focus on what you can do, and alleviate your sector using the business model, not as a social welfare model. So this is our our new juncture. This is our two performance indicators. So how do we know that we are really present and giving life to the simple figures? We want to increase the income of this person with disability, because if we will increase their income, then we can help their family. And then the 2,300 children for our feeding program. We need to sustain this. And our qualitative is we need to continue strengthening this food security, nutrition, healthcare, education, training, and livelihood. These are the enabling, empowering environment. If neglecting these qualitative indicators, then our presence is useless. So our strategy is collaborate, and I think my interview here with the ABCD and MAP maybe will open an opportunity for collaboration. And I'm appealing that help us, because if you help us, you will help the sector of persons with disability. So we want to share our practices, not only for persons with disability, but even for other vulnerable groups who are hopeless, who are limited in terms of engagement and capacity building. We want to share our ups and downs, our failures, our learnings. Yeah, this is our Facebook page and our email. Maraming salamat po ulit, Sir Julius, Ma'am Bernie, Secretary Ordonez, and to all the ABCD and movers. Thank you.
Well, very briefly, I usually like to ask the very end, but I'd like to say we're totally inspired by you, Richard, and if possible, give us a phone number, because all over the world it's inexpensive now to call overseas. Give us your office number or your cell phone number on the
Yes.
I know you can put in the chat box, but give it so people can hear you, because the people abroad 2 weeks later may not see the chat box. Could you give us a phone number? We can call you to find out your wisdom. Can you dictate it now, Richard? See it on the screen.
Yeah, you can contact us to 0977 392 5161.
Okay, let me read. 0977 392 5161. Wow, thank you very much for that contact. And of course, later, before we end, Mr. Chairman, we're on the roll now on how to have WDs and all that, and I think that's great. But before we end, we're really interested in management. We are a management organization, and you are running an excellent cooperative, and we keep on failing because we don't know how to manage cooperatives. So at the very end, Mr. Chairman, if we can have him answer the question, what is wrong with our cooperatives, and what did you do so that these wrongs did not happen? Yet a successful cooperative. It's a management question. But I want that at the end. In the meantime, Mr. Chairman, you can open the forum, because they may ask about how we can help PWDs or other things related to Richard. I just want to let you know, no? Outstanding farmer siya. Imagine he's a future outstanding farmer given by Petron, etc. He's really fantastic at management, if you ask me. Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me this little spiel.
No problem, Ernie. And once again, thank you to Richard. Yeah, so we now open the floor to questions. As I just as a reminder, you can line yourself up for questions by clicking the reaction button at the bottom of your screen. If you're on PC, you should see an option there that says raise hand. If you're on your cell phone, you can tap either the 3 dots or the 3 lines. On your cell phone, it should show you an option that says reactions. Tap reactions, and then that should also show you that you can raise your hand. If that's really not, if that's a little too difficult, you can put your question in chat box, or if you can keep your hand raised, turn on your video, keep your hand raised, and we'll get to you. We'll line you up for your question. Okay, so I already see that there's a question from Mr. Jaime Reneses. Jaime, please come in.
Good morning. I'm listening to you. I'm very, very inspired. I'm already 84, but you, with your experience as a PWD person, going through a lot of challenges and a lot of successes, it's to me very, very inspiring. I'd like to have two questions for you. One is the cooperative movement in the country right now, do we have a cooperative union of the Philippines where all cooperatives are united into one organization? Hello?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Jaime. That's very difficult to answer because that's the saddest fact. I was in Japan and Korea. I see how the cooperative dictated the economy. They have the big forces, but here, the cooperative movement in the Philippines is fragmented.
Yes, po.
Before, we have around 56,000 registered cooperative. Now, they are cleaning it, and now it's 18,000. And more are dying, and some already died in a natural death. Because to me, if you will not embrace the true meaning and principle cooperative, if you're only after on some economic gains, then it will not survive. And to me personally, I'm not saying it, but maybe the party list helps, but somehow the party list also destroy the cooperative.
Wala po tayong Cooperative Union of the Philippines?
Meron po, sir, meron po. Meron po mga different union, may mga network, may mga confederation, ang dami. But in terms of one, just like Korea or Japan, meron talagang one. Sa atin, parang mahirap po na mabuo talaga. But of course, they are attempting to go to that direction. Magkaroon talaga ng one. Kasi pag pinagsama-sama talaga yung lahat ng assets, malaki po matutulong ng cooperative para iangat ang buhay.
Yung inyong po cooperative, you started with 5 members na PWD, and then you became 57 already as of today. Napakalaki po niyan. Are we organized as a federation of cooperatives for the country as PWD?
Meron po kaming inorganize, pero sir, na unti-unting nangihina kasi wala ng economic activity. So as I mentioned, yung 10%, yun sanang starting point. Yung 10%, we call it, kung sa Japan merong job quota requiring the company, 2.3% of their total manpower should be person with disability. Here, procurement quota. Sana meron na yung 10% chairs every year. Pero pinasok na ng mga malikaing mga negosyante na malikain. Hindi na nakakapasok ang mga PWD cooperative. So unti-unti na nagkukulaps kasi wala na economic activity. Pangalawa, walang capital eh. Walang down payment sa gobyerno pag nag-join ka ng bidding. Hindi naman bankable. Yung iba, pinalad, pero karamihan, hindi bankable kasi ang collateral lang nila is wheelchair. Paano tatanggapin ng bangko kung maglo-loan ka kung ang collateral mo is wheelchair? So sarili mo lang ang collateral mo. So still the banking industry is still on the old type. If they're really sincere, then they have to open a window for this person with disability cooperative who would like to venture into social enterprise. Probably, kami po ay pinalad. Nakabayad kami ng loan sa isang private bank. Hindi kami nanghingi. May interest na bayaran namin lahat. Pero yung iba hindi eh. Hindi po lahat.
Thank you po. Yung aking question po, I'm relating it to the comment of our President Ordonez is saying that ano po ang nakikita ninyong basic problem sa mga cooperatives natin na nawawala ng gana at nawawala na tuluyan? Pero there are very, very successful cooperatives considering your own cooperative, being challenged through time, and still you are very, very strong and you are expanding pa. ano po yung nakikita ninyong weakness or disadvantage of a cooperative vis-a-vis the whole situation?
Yun po, number one is governance and sincere proactive leadership. Kasi pag ang governance is weak, then that's the problem. And I think not only focusing on credit cooperative, there are other types of cooperative that we can venture. Kasi hindi naman lahat merong ability to give their share capital. Paano kung wala nga silang trabaho? You need to create first asset building, then after the asset building, continue the social support system. Especially in our case, people with disability and elderly. In Italy, they have the social cooperative. The social cooperative model is successful kasi they're inclusive. Elderly, single parent, out of school youth, persons with disability. Here, I would like to try that kind of system. But of course, they are successful because the government are there to support them in their ventures in the private sector. So, sa akin ko, sir, if the cooperative will not, like right now, we are in a digital world. If they will not accept this, that this is already a digital world, and now the artificial intelligence is here, then wala, malilate talaga, mahuhuli. If they will not engage, like for example, we have now the climate change problem. So they have to grab the opportunity how to do it. Engage maybe in green economy project. Ayaw nilang pumunta ron. Kami gusto namin. Kahit persons with disability kami. Gusto namin doon pumunta. We want to engage. Yeah.
Question comes from Janan or Hanan Ednalino.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jaynan Ednalino, and I'm the head of business development here in BPI Banco. No, so I don't know if you've heard about our company. It's the microfinance arm of BPI. We're a wholly owned subsidiary, by the way. So anyway, just a question, Sir Richard. Again, very inspiring. Our organization is also very much into social enterprise. We have a few very, very important success stories in the past where we also even helped out farmers. So this actually doesn't just to address this to you, but the rest of the members as well, because that's what we're geared towards. That's part of our vision, to build a better Philippines, one family, one community at a time. So anyway, to the question, Sir Richard, are your members currently also being empowered to venture into their own businesses? So are they also in a way geared towards being their own entrepreneurs? So you're all very open to that.
Yes, sir. Thank you po. Actually, we have two framework of business. The cooperative business and the individual members business, and the extension support system, because some are not members, but they are recipients or partners of our programs. So we have this, we call it support the employment and livelihood of persons with disability. Some are already successful, like the cell phone repair. Some are soft drinks, drinks and beverages business. Some are doing their own bakery or pizza hut selling. So we have some individuals and we have group programs.
That's glad to hear, because maybe I'll get in touch with you separately offline. We're very much very interested for the collaboration as well on how we can help, somehow, because as you were mentioning earlier, di ba? May mga iba kasi kayong dealings na with the banks. So ours kasi is not really the traditional one. So in fact, we're being mandated also. This is aligned with the BSP, where we need to reach more. We wanna, reach the unbanked, the underserved, the unserved. So yeah. So, yun, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you,
be
Sir
in touch.
Janan. Thank you. Thank you
And
po.
maybe to the rest of the members, very much our contact details naman is with the organization. So feel free to reach out to us as well. Thank you so
Sir.
much.
Thank you po. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much for that, Janan. We have a question from Vicky. She put it in the chat box, but I'd like to invite you to.
Yes. Congratulations. You're so inspiring, how what you're doing. I'm just wondering where your base is. Kasi syempre yung mga PWD, I don't think you're all in one place, no? Magkakalayo kayo. So how do you gather? How do you centralize your effort? Do you have a base office, a central office for whatever you're doing, or for meeting, or for the co-op?
Thank you, Ma'am Vicky. Our national headquarters is located here in North Olympus subdivision.
Where is that?
In Barangay Kaligayahan, Quezon City. No, we are near in SM Purview along sa Barty Road.
Again, north. Where again? North?
Bigay Buhay Multi-Purpose Cooperative headquarters is located in Block 7, Lot 26. Box
Anyway,
Street.
ano na lang, maybe we can talk about that after.
Not
Because
Olympus,
if you're-
ma'am.
I'm wondering what I would like to offer kasi setting up a library for you, or helping you in some needs, no, that we can mutually agree on. We have the capacity, and we would of course like to be part of this leveling up of PWD. So maybe we can talk about that
Salamat po.
afterwards. Yeah.
Salamat po, ma'am. Lalo niyo akong binibigyan ng reason para mabuhay pa ng mahaba. Opo. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Swerte at that one is all there. And yun ang pagagalawin natin mabuti.
Thanks so much for that. All right. May I ask if there are other questions? Because if there are none, I'll go back. Okay, Ike.
Richard, mayang aga kasi manwa.
Mayong aga.
I want to know, why is your social media weak? Is it because you do not have writers, you do not have animators? Because social media is free, you don't have to spend anything. So why are you not active in social media?
We have limited po skills in writing, business writing. Content. Then our photos are poor in terms of presentations and the narratives. Then of course, admittedly, we don't have that enough knowledge in manipulating the Facebook page, the Instagram, and other social media infrastructures. Because most of us are not really exposed to that kind of technology. So our knowledge is only basic.
Can you get donors so you can pay for the social media services?
Are you asking me, sir, or yes, of course, sir. Of course, we want. In fact, we don't have a website, no, because it's expensive to buy a domain, to maintain a domain, and then to update from time to time the content of our social media account.
Okay, we can start with that. I'll give you a free website. No? I'll get in touch via mobile. And I have another question in the second round. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that. Okay. It's 8:54. So I'd like to invite our president, Ernie, if you'd like to.
Yes, thank you. Actually, Jaime raised the question already. Actually, we'll have to talk about this in depth after the forum, because I really think the cooperative movement here has actually generally failed. There are some good ones, many bad ones, and we need something, some real skill. And of course, actually, that's one of the five biggest priorities we have. We need consolidation. Agriculture is condemned to poverty because about 80% is in three areas, and all of them are 1 hectares, and there's no consolidation. So consolidate rather than getting a big firm buying everything, everyone up. We would rather do the Taiwan style, the Thailand style, which is they come together and that's called cooperative. But it is such a failure here in this country. So, Richard, I want to let you know that actually, whether you're PWD or not, you're just a fantastic manager, correct? And you're fantastic skill in managing, making this happen. So I just want to let you know that we'll talk after this forum. Basically, you answered the question. You said it needs governance, right? It needs actually commitment and sincerity, etc. We cannot do that in a practical way. So I'll talk about
Thank you
that
very
later.
much to everyone who can join us for the formal session. If you can stay with us until 10 o'clock for the informal session, we will continue our discussion with Richard, and this one will be much more free-flowing. But for those who do have to go ahead, thank you very much for being with us this morning. Let us just first give our certificate of appreciation to Richard. Maybe please share that on the screen. So the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation, in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines, our special partner institutions, senior special partner institutions, corporate members, and individual members, all of us present this certificate of appreciation to Richard Arceno for his invaluable support in the advocacy and promotion of agribusiness countryside development, and for his commendable and unselfish services rendered to this foundation as our resource speaker on our 19th weekly online meeting of 2023, given this 30th day of May in Makati City. Signed myself as our chairman and Ernie Ordonez as our president. And for those of you who can join us next week, we have a very interesting topic as well. Small technologies that can help improve the quality of life of our farmers. Maybe we can flash that on the screen. Yes, so our topic for next week is organic farming and brown rice impeller micro. So scale down technology is something that's very important to the Philippines, considering that we don't encourage large land holdings. So it is very important for us to have technologies that can be scaled down to smaller level. And this seems to be a topic that might be of interest to those who are looking for such technology. So again, if you have to go ahead, thank you very much for joining us this morning. The Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation, in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines, is a nonprofit member-supported foundation. If you are joining us 2 weeks later through our social media, thank you again for your time and for viewing today's session. We hope this was helpful to you. If you would like to engage with our speakers in real time during our sessions, or gain access to our wide network of agribusiness organizations, consider joining us. It is through the support of hosts that we are able to continue bringing you our services. If you would like to, please introduce yourself. You can send us an email. Links are in the description. And once again, I am your chairman, Julius Barcelona, on behalf of the ABCD. Thank you very much and have a good day.